shot. Come on. Yeah!
Needs it. And good morning, everyone. Welcome to the 2023 Super Senior Classic here at Sam's Town Bowling Center in Las Vegas, Nevada. Mike Flanagan along with Tom Hess here. We're going to bring you the Group A and Group B Stepladder Finals.
Yeah, we've bowled 24 games of qualifying, basically, 18 games of qualifying, 6 games of match play. Down to 6 guys today. Going to be some exciting action, simultaneous stepladders going on.
Yeah, and we're going to find out who is going to join Jack Jurek and Lenny Boris Jr. to see who's going to take home the title. Lenny Boris Jr. last year was the bridesmaid to Ron Moore, finished second, and this year he's got a chance to redeem himself, and Jack Jurek, he's been the class of the field.
Yeah, Jack's very first 60 tournament, recently turned 60, and came out here and said, hold my beer, guys. I'm gonna run this thing over.
See, the guys are just finishing up practice, just a few minutes left here of practice. Tom, let's talk a little bit about Group A. We got Bryan Goebel, the number 3 seed, Skip Pavone, the number 2 seed. Of course, Goebel with a very decorated PBA career. He's had success on the PBA 50 Tour. Of course, these are the 60-year-olds, hence the Super Senior Classic here, and Skip Pavone, the Southpaw.
Yeah, Skip won regional title from San Jose, California. Just on sheer experience, you've got to take Bryan Goebel in this match. But interestingly, we've got 3 lefties between our 2 groups here, 2 of them over in Group A.
Yeah, Gary Ray, the number 1 seed, he will meet the winner of Goebel versus Pavone. And then over in Group B, we have Kevin Croucher, the number 3 seed, the right-hander. Kerry Painter, of course, also right-handed. Kerry Painter, the number 2 seed, he had the front 9 3 times in the same day in the advancers round.
Yeah, Kerry had quite the roller coaster day. Did bowl a perfect 300, had a 289. Also bowled a couple of very, very low games in our match play to fall out. I mean, he was really battling Lenny Boris to see who was going to come out of this before faltering late.
And our number 1 seed over in Group B, John Marsala, the Southpaw from St. Charles, Missouri. It took 370 over for 18 games to make it into the top 12. John Marsala was the number at plus 370. He bowled 269 the last game just to sneak in there. And John yesterday, he really came on strong at the end. John looks as fundamentally sound as I've seen him bowl in quite some time.
Yeah, John, when it came right down to it and got to the end, we saw him basically in all 3 rounds, perform to get there, and bowled a really big position round game to jump around Kerry to get into the number 2 spot. Lenny was far enough ahead that that John really couldn't catch him, but he did get around Kerry, made his day 1 game shorter.
Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about this oil pattern that they've been competing on here this week. The oil pattern is 39 feet in length, 45 ULs per board, 26 total milliliters. It is a 3-to-1 ratio. And the scoring pace has been moderate to high. There it is right there on the screen. You can take a look at it for all of you oil pattern nerds out there. You look at all the load data there on the way down and on the way back. Using the slickest conditioner that our official maintenance supplier, Kegel, provides, which is the ice oil. So we are bowling on the AMF lane surface, the HPL. Had some panels replaced, but very high friction. Friction normally equals scores. Players have had plenty of practice, and things are going to get started here. Tournament director Rob Gottschall making the final announcements. And a final send-off here to the players. Here we go, Tom. 2 stepladders at the exact same time simultaneously, as we do uniquely here at the 2023 USBC Super Senior Classic. Here we go.
Yeah, Bryan Goebel's going to get us kicked off here. Group A on the left, Group B on the right. Pretty good shot, tickles the 5.
Yeah, from my vantage point here, it looks like Bryan's playing right around the second arrow, giving it about a 4 or 5 board belly. Angle's pretty straight there for Bryan. Bryan, as he's gotten a little bit older, end over end roll for Bryan. When the lanes start to open up, that's when Bryan starts to struggle. He likes them on the fresh.
Yeah, he likes to play a little bit straighter. He came out and bowled on the regular tour a couple times this year and just wasn't able to open up the lanes like the guys do out there.
So here is Skip Pavone. And these are simultaneous step ladders, but just the left pair getting things started here. Wraps the 7 there. Still a couple great opening shots, though. Both guys hit the pocket.
Yeah, Kerry's taking his time here. I don't know what's going on, why Kerry's not bowling. I would have assumed it would have been pair for pair, shot for shot here, but Kerry really taking his time.
Again, this match here, Painter taking on Kevin Croucher. The winner will get John Marsala. And again, Goebel and Pavone, the winner will get Gary Ray, to then determine which 2 bowlers will advance to our main step ladder coming up at 11 a.m. Pacific time, where they will join Jack Jurek and Lenny Borish.
Kerry with the 10-pin there. Yeah, Mike, you were talking about scoring pace, and Bryan Goebel actually has the low average of the guys that made the cut here at 221.83. Quite a separation. Skip Pavone, 7 pins a game better, up to 228.
All right, and he covers the spare. So we are clean so far, clean living here.
But in Group B, it was much, much closer. Kevin Croucher, 223.58. Kerry actually averaged just a little bit less, but won one more game than Kevin did. Kerry averaged 223.21, and then John Marsala averaged even less at 223 even, but went 4-1-1 in match play. Pretty good shot from Skip there. A little light, but carried. First look at Kevin Croucher.
Kevin looking good here to start. You know, you and I were talking yesterday. Not to talk too much about yesterday, but in match play, in Group B, you identified very early that you thought that was the toughest group. You had Borish, Marsala, Painter, Croucher, a guy named Pete Weber, and a guy named Walter Ray Williams Jr. And what's so bizarre is Pete and Walter did not make it out of that group, and they had plenty of wood to get there. They struggled down the stretch. They bowled each other. Pete bowled 150 his second to last game. Did beat Walter in that final position around 228 to 197. Pete fell 22 short of making the show. Walter 94.
Yeah, at one point, Mike, both Walter and Pete were actually in the show, and for guys of their caliber to get there and then slow down and fall out was a huge surprise to most of the people in the building yesterday.
It really just goes to show how well Kevin Croucher, Kerry Painter, and John Marsala bowled yesterday.
Yes, it does.
And that's got to make them feel good coming in here knowing they beat Pete and Walter. Goebel just left a target on that one. Not a good shot.
Yeah, I think Kevin the same here. Kevin converting the 3-6-10.
Over on the other side, of course, Goebel, Pavone, and Ray making into this Group A. And, of course, Jurek, the #1 seed, finishing just outside in 5th. 227 pins back, actually, was Hugh Miller, and Tom Adcock was 6th in Group A.
Oh, Bryan hooking at the 3-6 there. Not so sure he thought he was going to get that when that ball started to hook, but he does cover. Kerry Painter with the light swisher. The light hit seems to be working well early on in these matches.
Yeah, I really thought as the lanes transitioned yesterday that the lefties got the score late.
Yeah, I can agree.
Of course, we're on all fresh here, so I would say it's pretty even Steven on both sides of the lane. And that was just pulled inside a target there.
Yeah, I agree with that. Just a miss in. Maybe a little bit of nerves going on.
The cool thing, though, even with the nerves, and I know this is a big moment for these guys, is so far we've had all of our spares converted.
Yeah. Carey, another light swisher.
Yeah, so to the folks at home that may be watching this, for the first time, or maybe watching a recorded version later on our YouTube channel, this is a 3-to-1 ratio. These lanes are not easy, folks. They are not easy. These guys made them look easy here this week, but your typical league shot is a 12-to-1, 14-to-1 ratio, meaning the outsides are dry. So as your ball rotates, you throw it to the outside part of the lane. It comes back into the head pin, which you got to hit the head pin to strike. At least that's the theory. And on this here, if these guys sail it a little bit too far to the right, the ball just wants to hang out there. And if they miss a little bit left, it likes to go through the nose or Brooklyn or even worse.
Yeah, as we can see, that's the first light hit that hasn't carried yet today. Kevin leaving the 7 pin.
Simultaneous action here. I love it.
Much better shot from Skip there. You could tell he liked that one right off his hand.
Yeah, that was a no-doubter 10 back for Skip.
Kevin, a great spare shooter, covers the 7.
I've had the honor of calling this event. This will be 2 years in a row now. Have a chance to get to know these guys, get to see their abilities. I've seen some of them cross over into the PBA 50 Tour. When the 60-year-olds, the super seniors bowl on the PBA 50 Tour, we always cheer for them to try to do well. And when they make runs, it's so cool. And Croucher, I've seen this guy compete. This guy can bowl.
Yeah, Kevin, multiple-time regional titleist out in the Northwest. Of course, you talk about competing. Hall of Famer there, Bryan Goebel. So we know he can play. Kevin fighting Carey just a little bit here.
He is, and he left a week 10 on 17, and we also saw Carey leave a week 10 to start the match over on that lane. So maybe that lane could be a little bit tighter as we continue to try to find a trend here on these championship pairs. Always something that we like to look for here as we do call the action. We, throughout the week, have been covering lanes 19 through 22 as our main pairs. So even though we've kept an eye on these pairs here, I personally don't know them as well as 19 and 20, 21, and 22.
Yeah, you've been kind of stuck behind the pole there.
I have
can't
been
see
this
17
week,
and
yeah.
18.
We're really honed in on these pairs now. Push.
Bryan doesn't like that one. Left again.
Yeah, that's back-to-back shots on that lane.
Yeah, and I don't think that's the lane. I think that's just Bryan not executing as well as he would like.
Yeah, definitely left the target.
Let's take a look at Carey's ball here. Mike, I think the reason Carey's carrying the light hit and Kevin isn't right now, it looks to me like Carey's throwing a little bit cleaner ball, creating a little bit more angle down lane, coming in from a little bit further right, and so he's getting more of a mix, as you can see there. Carey's another, light splasher, we would call that. I think Kevin is playing a little more straight. His ball doesn't quite have the angle. Oh, that's basically the exact same way that Bryan hit the 3-6 when he made it last time. He went high, and he, from his reaction, he looked fortunate to make the 3-6, and then unfortunately misses the 3-6-10 there. But anyway, when I was getting back to Kevin's ball, looks like it's not hooking as much down lane, so it's not creating the angle to get that splash hit that Carey's getting. Oh, and
Push.
he doesn't like that.
No, and that's what we talk about on this 3-to-1 oil pattern. To all of us at home just looking at that shot, it didn't look that bad, but he was 1 or 2 boards left to target, and it just hooked on him right through the nose.
Yeah, you could tell from his reaction as soon as he let go of it that he didn't like it.
So Skip has an opportunity here to throw a double. He has not struck on this right lane. See if he can do it here. That's a good one.
That's pretty good.
Skip taking control of that match at mid-game right now. Nice little lead.
That, man, in that situation, you just got to make sure you get 2. Every pin's going to matter in these step ladders.
Yeah, if Kevin strikes here, it's a 2-pin match now. Strikes for show, spares for dough. I think I've heard that once before.
Yeah, but in that situation, Mike, 2 actually gets you 4.
I know. Yeah,
So
you're right.
Kevin playing with tape as Skip tries to get the 3-bagger here. Oh, that's a little left.
Yeah, but even though that was
Oh.
left there, you know, the lefties have had this ability when they do miss a little left. I don't know if they make a little adjustment at the bottom of their swing and they give it a little more hook, or if they slow up just a little bit to give that ball more time back to the pocket. You know, Tom, the lefties love to play out, and it won't fall off into the gutter here.
No, I don't think it will.
There is enough friction.
As we've been talking, you know, this is a higher friction SPL AMF surface, so see if Bryan can bounce back.
Hook.
Oh, he got that one way too far right.
Yeah, it looked like he gassed it too. He just looks very uncomfortable at this point. Oh, there's a spare. Kevin keeping himself in the match. Take a look at that again. Got a nice replay. I want to thank Brian Kane, our producer, being here today. Look at this right here.
Almost got what I call one of the worst breaks in bowling. Almost put that around it.
Gutter helped him out a little
Does
bit
come
there.
out of the gutter and get it. Bryan not able to make his 1-2-8-10. Huge break there going Brooklyn. Of the 4 bowlers we're watching now, I would say Skip Pavone looks the most comfortable of all of them.
Yep, I agree. There you go, Brian.
That's a better shot.
Projected that one nicely there. But he has got himself in a big hole here. Carey wraps the 10. You know, Carey's been the guy that can just string strikes. I mean, we talked about it on the Open. He's, you know, nine in a row, 3 times in one day. He has just really gotten comfortable in this bowling center, and he just knocks them down.
Yeah, interesting. That's the first time that Carey really got up high. Wasn't really high flush, but, you know, flush. And he wraps the 10. His 3 strikes were all light swishers. So that's the negative side of creating all that angle. When you actually get it flush in the pocket, better chance to wrap a 10 as the ball gets a little bit behind the head pin.
Do want to thank you watching here on Bowl TV. Bowl TV Bowling Lives Here, subscription service online, home of the PWBA as well as the PBA Tour this season, and a PBA 50 Tour coming up all season long. If you're not subscribed to Bowl TV and you want to watch the action live, make sure you head over to bowltv.com and pick one of the packages. And we'd love to have you come on board and be part of our community at Bowl TV.
As Skip Pavone takes a stranglehold on his match with Bryan Goebel. Skip clean with a 4-bagger. Bryan an early double, but consecutive opens in the 5th and 6th. Kerry Painter, there you go. The light hit. Gets the head pin into the 10. That's a fortunate break just to leave only the 5 there from Skip. That was not a very well executed shot.
Kevin Croucher can strike here, take a lead in the match.
Yes, he can.
Come on, Kevin, get that ball to Reed.
No.
That was quite a bit left to right. He really trusted that one, and it just did not get back. He's missed the head pin a couple of times on his right lane now.
Yes.
I don't know if he missed it at the bottom. He was a little right at target. I'm not sure what happened there.
Yeah, I don't know. He might be trying to open up the lane a little bit to get that ball to go through the pins a little bit better, and just misexecuted there. Kevin's a very quick bowler. He doesn't take a whole lot of time on the approach. He gets up, gets his ball, gets set, and goes.
There's just something about Kevin. He just reminds me of just this, like a World Team Challenge bowler back in the day. Somebody you put in a two hole, and he's like the secret weapon. I just seen this guy bowl so many times, and he never goes away. He hasn't had a great ball reaction here, but look at him. He's right in the match still.
Oh, Bryan.
Yeah, Goebel's going to want to have this game back. I mean, he started with a double, Tom. He was looking really, really good, and then just something in the middle of the match here has just gone away for him. And Croucher, he was a zone in on that one. That was like 15 to 10. And his last shot, he got all the way out to, 7 or so?
Yeah. Bryan, the three competitors in each group were able to practice on this pair before they started, and Bryan was all by himself in his, and I don't know if...
That's a good point.
He just wasn't able to create what he was looking for, or he's just not executing. He's obviously not executing as well as he wants.
Now we're seeing a little emotion out of the painter.
Yeah, finally got one up there flush that carried.
We've been talking all week. We like to have fun here on Bowl TV. We were talking about him painting happy trees and painting the lanes, and he's doing all this painting out there as a craftsman.
Yeah, and the other thing we talked about that I thought you brought up was really interesting is Carey the worst name to have in a bowling center?
Yeah, and I mentioned that because imagine you're on the approach and somebody 3 lanes down yells "Carey," because they want their ball to carry the 10 pin, and that's very distracting if you're on the approach and your name is Carey. I think it's a disadvantage. I think anything he's done in bowling is a +1. I think 17's definitely tighter.
Yeah, 17's definitely tighter. I think that might have been just a little bit in and a little bit quick, not far enough in to hook past the head pin, but just far enough in to not get to the friction quick enough. Coming up light, leaving the 2-8. Skip Pavone with a pretty good shot there. Skip, just don't do anything silly here. Actually, Skip's got it locked up already. It doesn't matter what Skip does.
I think lane 17 in particular, it seems like the pattern being 39 feet in length is playing a little bit more like 42 now. It's like the pattern is stretched a bit down lane, meaning the oil has been taking off of the bowling balls as it travels down the lane, and that bowling ball with oil on the track flares moves the oil down the lane, puts a little bit of oil down lane, which creates less shape down the lane.
Yeah. That's an irrelevant miss there. Bryan can only bowl 189. You'd like to make it for your confidence, but here, this is a really big shot for Kevin Croucher here. Kevin can actually strike out and shut Kerry Painter out. Pretty good shot there for a guy who missed the head pin the last two shots
got that
on
one
lane.
To tip nicely. It looked like he just got through it much better.
Max score for Kevin, 225. Max score for Painter, 218.
And if you're Skip over here and you got this one in the bag, you might want to be switching some bowling balls, getting some different looks, trying to get more information about that pair of lanes.
I would definitely try to make this 7-pin, and you have to try something. He hasn't struck in 3 frames. Big shot for Kevin Croucher. Struck the last 2 times on this lane. Was he going to get the break? Oh.
All right, well, here we go. This is a nail biter here.
Yeah, we got a 4-pin match.
That first hit would have been huge for Kevin. Needs to make it. It's the bowl 204, which would force Kerry Painter to mark.
Mark with a couple of good counts as well.
Yeah.
That carry could be important right there. 204.
So 8 spare 8 is a tie?
8
right?
spare 8 is a tie. 6 spare strike is a tie. 7 spare 9. Several ways we could tie here. 9 spare 7.
217, Skip Pavone's going to get the win over Bryan Goebel. Bryan Goebel is going to finish 3rd in Group A. Of course, in Group A, Skip is going to take on Gary Ray. And over in Group B, the winner gets John Marsala.
Our two losers here in these first two matches are going to take home $2,500 for their week of work here at the Super Senior Classic. Not a bad payday.
It's always kind of nice to come to Vegas, too. We had a sold-out field here. 206 total players took to the lanes. Down to our final 8 here today for this broadcast. I don't care how Bryan Goebel bowled. It was great to see Bryan Goebel out competing on the lanes. Obviously, he is most famous for beating Norm Duke at landmark lanes and bowling 296 in the final match, one of the most epic matches in PBA Tour history. And here we go. We got an 8 count.
Yeah. Must make the spare.
And then 9.
And then 9.
Needs to paint it up nicely here. You're going to see him stand to the left. He's electing to use a different ball, looks like, to go at the spare. Ball that changes direction less. Straighter is greater at the 610. Stand a little bit to the left, angle it over there, and see if he can pick it up. And the angle standing to the left makes it much harder to chop. If he would have his feet further to the right, it would be easier to chop. In this particular case, he covers it. Yep, no problem. So here we go. That's 196 on the board. 204 has already been posted. We've gone over it a couple of times. 8 is a tie. 9 or more is a win. 7 or less is a loss.
And this is where I bring back the fact that he only got 1
on the fifth frame. Yeah.
You know, if he gets 2 here, he's 2 pins higher. You only need 7 to win.
Yep. And this can mess with your mind here when the lanes are playing pretty tough for him right now. You feel like you almost got to be perfect out there right now. I mean, he does have 5 strikes in the game, but there have been some frames where he's gotten some ball reaction that isn't necessarily going to get you 9.
Right.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Nice shot right there. Kerry Painter, 206. Takes home the win over Kevin Croucher.
Finished there by our 2013 champion Kerry Painter. How about a round of applause for Bryan
There's the
Goebel
winning
and
shot right there one more time.
finishing in 7th place.
Boom. Splits the 8-9.
Might be the best shot he threw the whole game.
I think it is.
John over for a few warm-up shots before we get underway with our final of our group Stepladders here at the 2023 Super Senior Classic.
So there we go. We've got a little warm-up coming up here at the 2023 USBC Super Senior Classic. Glad you're with us here on Bowl TV. We'll let the players take some practice here, and then we'll resume as we now have 2 new players coming in. We got John Marsala in Group B to take on Kerry Painter, and then we've got Gary Ray in Group A to take on Skip Pavone, a couple of southpaws.
Yeah, both guys been pretty dominant this week. Once they got, well, I guess I just misspoke because we just talked earlier about how John made late runs. Both them blocks the last game of the Cashers round. John actually went from 18th up to 12th with his 269 game. But Gary's been battling near the top of the standings. And actually, Gary kind of gets a bad break a little bit with this format. Gary Ray is plus 871, and he's got a bowl in the group step ladder. Lenny Borish is only plus 845. So Gary's actually knocked down 26 pins more than Lenny. But Gary's got a bowl just because of being in the wrong group.
Yep. Yeah, and to explain that a little bit further is that the top 12, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11 got put in Group A.
Yep.
And then Group B was qualifying seeds 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12 went into Group B. And then it's 6 games of match play, so you bowl everybody within your group. That way it's not 12 games of match play having to bowl everybody in the field. Something they do that's unique to this event. I like different formats. I kind of think this is cool the way this is done. We get to bring you 2 step ladders at once to move on to the main step ladder. More guys make the show this way. It's all inclusive. Why not spread the wealth a little bit and share it around, you know?
Yeah. You know, nobody has a gripe. They all knew the format when they signed up. Just an unfortunate circumstance.
For Gary.
I've crossed with Gary several times on the PBA 52, or either next to or with. And let me tell you, Mike, this guy throws it really good. And I was actually shocked that he doesn't have a regional win. He doesn't. Yeah. I guess the one thing I haven't talked to him is how long he's been out competing nationally, or even regionally. I don't know Gary's life situation, if he had a great job and didn't get the opportunity to come out. But as we watch, you're going to see a very powerful lefty. We talked about John yesterday as he was making his run, and you went down and talked to him about how hard he's been working on his game since the end of the PBA 50 season last year. Was not happy at all with the results he had.
He actually decided not to bowl the last couple of events. He went home. Was not happy with his performance. He's really worked at his game, and I noticed it. I noticed it yesterday. When guys start bowling 250s, 260s right in front of us, you start to kind of pay attention a little bit more. And one thing that I noticed about John, he's got his arm close to his ankle at release point, which is better, and he's staying down until the ball hits the pins. And it looks like he's in perfect time. And John, he's a PBA 50 champion, and out here bowling in the 60s now. I really like John's chances here today. I like his chances to actually win the whole thing. Now, I know I'm from St. Louis and he's from St. Charles, and I've seen him bowl a lot over the years. But I know when he's sharp and I know when he's not sharp. And this is probably the best I've seen him bowl in a couple years.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. A lot for John and Gary could decide, if John wins, we're going to have a lefty on the show. Either Gary or Skip is going to make it. So whether one or two lefties are on the show could have a bearing on how the lanes play after they get all the practice, because they're going to get 20 minutes of practice on this TV pair before we fire it up.
Yeah, the other thing about John that I like is 19 and 20, our championship pair. His last two games on that pair that he's bowled in this event, 258 and 269.
Yeah, very, very solid on that pair. Oh.
Yeah, I've been watching Gary's practice shots, and he's gone through the face a couple times, and he's also had a little pen carry issue here.
This might, as I said, I don't know a lot about Gary's life situation. This might be the biggest spot he's ever bowled in. So we'll see how Gary handles the nerves. As you mentioned, Skip does have a regional title, so he's at least been in this kind of situation before. Gary and John will get lane choice. You can see Tournament Director Rob Gottschall there, down getting the final details set. Oh, and we're waiting for Kerry again.
Super Senior Classic title. All right, ladies and gentlemen, our arrows are up. How about a round of applause for our group Stepladder finalists? One game to determine who advances to our championship round. Good luck.
And one thing that I find interesting, Gary must think he has a better look on 16 than he does on 15. Because most times, I mean, I'm 100% of the time, unless there's a huge difference in the lanes, I want to finish first. I want the opportunity to shut my opponent out before he can even take the 10th frame. Gary's decided to finish the match. That's a pretty good opening shot.
Sure is.
Got up there, got a little bit of a break to trip to 6, but
Yeah, these lefties are going to be playing super direct lines, and as long as they hit the 1-3, I think they're going to be pretty happy.
So, another interesting fact going on here. Kerry and Skip did not get to practice. Gary got to throw his shots, so he's changed Skip's line. John throwing his shots did not affect Kerry's line at all. See what kind of adjustment Skip makes here.
So that looked up the lane, and it looked like he got through that one really good. That was not way out towards the gutter waiting for it to tip in. That looked right like he was, if we had a strike track here, we don't, but if we did, I think he would have been right up on top of the line, the optimal line for him right there.
Yep, John Marsala does the same.
Yeah, and you'll see John get that wall kick on the 6. That's kind of a patented hit for John Marsala.
Nothing but strikes here in frame 1. Skip staring that one down. Well, I couldn't tell.
I don't think he could have made 2 better shots. I mean, that's perfect.
Kind of looked like he had a little bit of an approach issue maybe there, but he was staring that one down. I couldn't tell, is that going to be good? Is that going to be bad? And boy, it ran him over.
And Marsala's got this little float here, and I call it the float. You see his bowling ball almost get a little extra push in the mid lane before it starts to make its move to the pocket, and when he's floating it like that, that's when he's on.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, both shots. Little high flush and tripping the 6.
Gary with a little firmer speed. Oh, a little messenger action. How about that? Take a look at that one more time. Comes off the sidewall.
While we were looking at that replay, Kerry did get his double. Perfect through 2. Interesting. Gary's carried a high one, a light one, and then pretty flush one. Skip's been flush, flush. John Marsala been high flush, high flush. Oh, Kerry high again on that left lane. That was just a simple miss left. Lane did not overhook. Kerry just missed left, kind of fell out of that one a little bit. Skip Pavone not able to get the 7 out.
Both guys on 15 and 16, the southpaws, they're pretty similar lines, and they both got great looks out there. But we did see Skip in the last match miss right and went Brooklyn.
Yeah.
So if you can't miss in on this,
No.
you really can't. Maybe a board, but anything more than that, it looks pretty bad. Last year in this event, Ron Moore took home the title, and he even said in his winning interview that the key to him was his miss was to the right. And, of course, Ron opens up the lane. Ron did compete here this week. He didn't feel super sharp, wasn't able to match up. He did make the cashier's round, but failed to make the top 12.
Boy, Mr. Marsala looks really comfortable right now after 2 high flush trip 6. That one was 10 back. Skip Pavone needing to bounce back from the 7 pin here. Trying to keep this a 21-pin match. It's a pretty good shot. Oh, ho, ho. That was a pretty good shot. I started to say as the ball went through the pins, but the 8-pin decided it wanted to stand until the head pin came off the wall and took it out. John Marsala to extend his lead to 39. John looking really comfortable right now.
I think he's going to be a handful if he makes it to that top 4. I know we got Jurek and Borish on there, and those guys are lights out. But, man, this Marsala cat right now is bowling so good.
Yeah. Gary leaving a 7-pin.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
No. Carey back into the pocket.
You know, when Carey executes, I don't think he could be beaten. I just talked about how great Marsala is, but if Carey can execute every shot, we see that man. He has strung so many strikes. He could bowl 900. If he executes every shot, he may carry every one of them.
Yeah, but right now he's he's bowling a guy who is executing every shot, and Carey has already not executed one time. So
one time.
He could already be in trouble.
That just goes to show how good these guys are.
There's a much better shot there.
6 into the 10. And, you know, sometimes guys bowl at the strength of their opponents. It just happens sometimes. And, you know, we might see Carey bowl 250 and Marsala bowl 260 or vice versa, you know, and it you know, you just kind of, oh, this guy's striking, I got to strike. Oh, this guy's not striking very much. Well, all I got to do is hit the pocket, right? Pick my spares, stay clean, I'll be fine. This game's an interesting game, to say the least.
Oh, that was a pretty good shot from Gary there.
Yeah, I thought it was better than the shot on 16.
Yeah, that was a ring 7. That really good.
Yeah, the difference between a ring 7 and a flat 7 is what, Tom?
On a ring 7, the ball gets a little bit behind the head pin, so it rings the 7. Or the 4, around the 7.
Mm-hmm.
And a flat 7 angles just a little bit too straight. The 7-pin just falls into the gutter and kind of stays in the gutter and doesn't get up and get the 7. That's us bowlers' terms for a ring 7 or 10 or a flat 7 or 10. Of course, 10 for the righties, 7 for the lefties. And while I was explaining that, John Marsala just taking care of business.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, he's getting the high flush shots.
He is.
He is carrying those right now. That's inside. And it held.
Trip 6.
He missed in. That was in at least a board. Maybe 2.
Yeah. But maybe that's what John's playing. We've seen our other 2 lefties over here on 15 and 16. A couple of little light 7-pins. John's jamming it up in there, and it seems to be carrying.
And there are players that when they do miss, make subtle adjustments at the point of release. And John is one of those players. When he misses in, it's almost like he doesn't quite get around it as much to create rotation. He's more up the back of it, which makes the ball go straighter and stay on line.
That's a really good shot from Carey.
We got a little match here going on here.
That might be the best shot Carey's thrown today. Carey's, halfway through this game, Carey's back's against the wall already.
How about Carey's emotion we've seen a couple times? He's running them out. He's a fiery competitor.
I think both Skip and Gary. Oh, Skip misses the 7-pin there. Costly.
Yeah, what are we looking at scoreboard-wise there? It looks like 21-pin lead now for Gary.
Yeah, I think both Skip and Gary need to get their ball a little bit higher into the pocket. I think they need to be paying attention to what Marsala's doing. That high hit seems to be carrying a lot better. We've seen a whole bunch of 7-pins in this match.
Yeah, and Carey's a little frustrated with that 10-pin there. Yelling at it a little bit, giving a little bit of the business. Thought he executed that one pretty well. Looked good from up here.
Yeah, got just a little bit far down the lane is all. Well, Skip acting like he really liked that, but came up light, leaving a 3-pin.
Second to
Oh,
push.
boy.
Is that a reactive ball that he's throwing at the spares? Is that? It looks like it's a different reactive ball. It
Yeah,
doesn't.
that one looked like it hooked
I
quite
know,
a bit.
I
Did
know.
not. That's got to be some kind of reactive.
I know, Tom, you're a huge proponent of using plastic at your spares, hard and straight with plastic. You've mentioned that several times. It's what you've done with your game. You're an excellent spare shooter. Why guys don't use plastic at spares, or at least a very oil-soaked reactive ball or urethane ball is beyond me.
Yeah, see, there we go. John, high flush, or even higher than high flush, has carried every hit today.
Yep.
That one gets a little bit further left, doesn't get up, and I would call that was a flat 7. The 4-pin got over into the gutter, didn't come up and get the 7. Good news for John. His opponent's not doing much, so just go make the spare. There,
What a
Gary.
shot for Gary.
Yeah, got that one. More high flush. I think the guys are trying too much to use the wall to come in light and get the pins to fly around, and I think they need to just get up there and jam it in there like John's doing.
I'm gonna tell you something. That 7-pin make with a plastic ball, by the way, by John. That was a moral victory for him, because I saw him practice. He dumped one in the gutter, and then on his second time that he threw it a 7-pin, it would have just barely got there, got there. So I think that shot right there was a moral victory for John Marsala.
You know, I'd like to touch just a little bit on what you said about the spare shots after Gary here. Oh, okay, Gary
Nice
does carry the
tickler.
light swish. When you're using plastic, you don't necessarily have to throw it hard and straight. The plastic is going to help it go straight. So you don't really need to change everything. Just throw straight. You don't need to throw it hard. So hard that you get out of whack. John? Okay.
I thought that looked pretty good off his hand.
So did I. Might have been maybe a little bit slow.
Bingo. That was the one thing I thought it could be as well.
See, Skip Pavone light again.
Yeah, his bowling ball down lane is not hooking the way that it was earlier for him. Either something's up with him, or the lanes are transitioning for him.
Well, I would almost guarantee that it's the fact that he's bowling another lefty, and Gary Ray's using the Attitude Control, which is a urethane ball. So that is taking oil off the front of the lane and carrying the oil down the lane, which is really going to affect Skip's ball motion. Oh, and another open. So John with a 50-pin lead over Kerry. Kerry leaving another light 10-pin. And Gary Ray with a 54-pin lead over Skip Pavone, provided they throw all strikes here. Looked like Skip made a ball change there.
Yeah, it was good. I thought it was a good change.
Yeah, went a little bit further down the lane, changed direction a little bit more, but still not able to get the 7.
As we're coming to the close of our group stepladder finals here, just to get everybody up to speed, it was Bryan Goebel was our 3 seed, was defeated by Skip Pavone. Gary Ray versus Skip Pavone right now in Group A. In Group B, it was Kerry Painter over Kevin Croucher. Now John Marsala, Kerry Painter taken to the lanes right now, concluding these matches. We see a 7-pin miss there. It's getting ugly over there for Skip. And, of course, the winners of each one of these different groups are going to be inserted into our final stepladder coming up at 11 a.m. Pacific right here. Number 1 seed is Jack Jurek on that show. Number 2 is Lenny Borish. We will see what other 2 players join them.
Well, right now it's looking to be Gary Ray and John Marsala. And if this holds to form, Gary will be the number 3 seed. See, light again. Looking for that head pin to come across. That doesn't get the 7. He's got to get that ball up into the pocket, but as Carey splits again, Carey's max now 194. John already at 198. So John Marsala is going to move on. Got a 193 max for Skip Pavone. Carey makes that spare. So Gary at 177.
Is that a ball change?
I was doing some addition over there. I didn't really see
I
it.
think that was a ball change.
He was throwing the phase 2. That was a ball change.
That was
Yes,
a ball
sir.
change, and that looked really good. Looks like it's got a pearlized.
Yeah, that looks from here. That looks like a hyped pearl.
Look at this ball.
There, he tried to get one up there.
It looked like it just read so early.
So 2 here from Gary. Going to make Skip Pavone strike out, and then Gary throw it in the gutter twice to have a tie.
Marsala's got a nice ball progression here.
Yes,
we saw
he
him start
does.
with the stronger ball. He was carrying all the high hits. Then he got a little weird in the 7th and the 8th. Decides with the match in hand, go ahead and make the ball change, and he's flushed both of them.
Now, what's going to happen when we get to our step ladder? First thing, they're going to move to a different pair. We're going over to 19 and 20. We're going to go through the same practice regimen that we just had. It'll be a little bit longer practice as there's 4 bowlers as opposed to 3. And our first 2 competitors are going to be lefties. John, in the step ladder, is going to have to deal with the transition that Gary puts on the lane. And with that mess right there, we do have our finalists confirmed. John Marsala and Gary Ray are going to move on to join Lenny Borish and Jack Jurek, our number 1 seed, in the stepladder finals of the 2023 Super Senior Classic. John went back to the other ball, made a line change. You notice how much more he swung that one, trying to see what happened? That one labored down lane, left the 7-pin. Early in the match, he was much more direct down the lane and jamming it onto the head pin and carrying. If I'm John Marsala, that's the line I'm going to play.
Yep, absolutely.
Now, all of that is going to depend on what happens after our 30 minutes of practice over here on the stepladder pair as 2 lefties this time for John.
Kerry Painter is going to finish 2nd overall in the Group B stepladder, and Skip Pavone is going to finish 2nd overall in the Group A stepladder here today.
Yeah, Kerry and Skip going to be credited with 5th and 6th, each taking home $3,000. Not a bad payday for a week's fun.
No, and to both of these gentlemen, if you're watching this back, it's been a pleasure covering you both here this week. Awesome bowlers at this age, awesome bowlers at any age. And congratulations on a hell of a week. I know it's never fun to get eliminated from an event, but both of these guys should be really proud of their efforts here this week, along with Bryan Goebel and Kevin Croucher, who also made our finals here tonight.
Yeah, all these guys finished ahead of some of the legends of the sport. Several Hall of Famers competed this week, finishing 5th and 6th in a field of 206 bowlers is nothing to be disappointed about. Nice finish from Skip. Great to see that. Both of our bowlers doubling in the 10th in matches that were pretty much over. Gary kind of walking all over the approach here. He's really thinking about this shot, trying to gain some more information for the next stepladder match.
Yep, they'll move over to 19 and 20, so he'll be able to wash away any thoughts about this pair, gather the information that he has, though, and see how it will potentially help him on lanes 19 and 20. As we get ready to finish up our broadcast here, we want to thank everybody for watching. Continuing coverage of the 2023 USBC Super Senior Classic here from Sam's Town Bowling Center in Las Vegas. We'd like to thank our hosts here, Sam's Town, Tom and his entire crew. We'd also like to thank Kegel, the official lane maintenance supplier of the United States Bowling Congress. We'd like to thank you for watching here today on Bowl TV. And we look forward to seeing you on a future broadcast. As a matter of fact, we have another one coming up here at 11 a.m. this morning in about an hour, where we will have our stepladder finals for the 2023 USBC Super Senior Classic. For Tom Hess, for Brian Kane, and the entire staff here running the event for the United States Bowling Congress, including Gary Brown, Kathy Wadka, and Rob Gottschall, my name is Mike Flanagan. We look forward to seeing you here in just a little bit for our stepladder finals right here on Bowl TV. And remember, on Bowl TV, bowling lives here. Congratulations again, John Marsala and Gary Ray, moving on to meet Lenny Boris Jr., our number 2 seed, and Jack Jurek, the number 1 seed, coming up here on Bowl TV.